Andrew Bogut has just signed on to become one of the assistant coaches for the Sydney Kings. Now, for those of you who do not know, Andrew Bogut is actually one of the owners of the Sydney Kings. So this has become a bit of a controversial thing, even though this got announced like an hour ago. People aren't too happy about one of the owners becoming an assistant coach, and I don't really see the issue. Like, he doesn't really change too much about what his actual role is. The one thing about this that is a bit sus though is the fact that Daniel Kicker, who's been an assistant coach for us for like the last 3 or 4 years, has moved on to explore new opportunities. Now, it doesn't really look that great considering you've just moved on one of your like assistant coaches out of nowhere a few days ago, and now you've just dropped the fact that one of the part owners is now an assistant coach. That doesn't really look too good, and it does look a bit sus Kings, but that doesn't actually mean that that was the case. It could have just been a thing where Daniel Kigat wanted to move on. He wanted to explore different areas, like maybe other countries that he could be in coaching in. And then the Kings decided, well, Andrew Bogut probably decided that this is the time that he wants to become an assistant coach, because he has spoken about this multiple times about how he does have the desire to become a head coach one day. Like, he has a very high IQ for basketball. If you listen to his podcast, he does just like yap a bit, but he does, like, when it comes down to the nitty gritty, he does have a big understanding of what the game needs to be and like what needs to happen in it. And if you also listen to him on commentary, he actually does make a lot of valid and credible points. He's not just one of those people who's on there just to be a personality and just make up a bunch of stuff. Like, he tends to have like a good insight on the game. I'm hoping now that he's on the floor that he actually has a bit more of an impact and a say in what Gorge is doing, because Gorge has been doing a lot of questionable things this year, especially like in terms of rotation and everything. So now that Bogut's there, you've got like an eyes on the ground to try and like fix things, hopefully. Like, Gorge is a very smart man, he's a very experienced man, but I do think he's getting to the end of his time. He's in his 70s now, and there probably are some like plans to replace him eventually with Andrew Bogut, which does make sense. And I don't know if it's like a conflict of interest kind of thing for him to become like the head coach. I know players can't be owners as well, so I don't know if coaches can be owners. I don't know where that, it might be like a little gray area that they weren't really expecting, so there's no real rules around it. But I do think in the long term, this is actually going to be a good idea. I think it could be very successful. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Like, Kings fans, are you happy with him being in there? Everyone else, like, do you guys care, or are you just like, what is he doing here?